Good morning, welcome back to episode 8 of the camper build. So I've been working on the back end of the camper. Now mainly the construction is the same as the rest of the camper. So I've not videoed that. If you haven't seen how I make the panels up, then just look at previous videos. But the problem was this end down here, because I got the reinforcing bar in here, I couldn't bolt this through, connect this through. So making up the normal panel, I couldn't fix it in exactly the same. So I came up with this idea. It's just some 10mm plywood, made up the frame, glued it in. So the only difference with these panels is I've now, because it's now the top of the camper, I've capped the top edge of the steel. So that'll all be sanded, filled and finished off nicely. And then my PMF will come up the face of the plywood, turn over the top, and then I shall have to create a rebate on the top here for where the roof comes down. So, but these panels, as you can see, just go on like so. Something like that. And this is where I can now fix this through. So I'll get a fixing through here and 2 fixings through there. That then means I can put the insert panel back in. And I've also run another piece of plywood inside this rebate that I've created. I shall run that past here. So that glues and screws to this, so that'll just give that extra strength. This panel, I've also fitted in, you'll see in the photo there, that I've fitted in some reinforcing blocks. This is where the hinge will go. So I've got something again nice and beefy to bolt that through. And these will bolt right through and come out the other side. And then for the bottom door, obviously these will fit here. Like so. This door comes up here and comes up to about here. That allows us enough length then to step up and get in. So that's what I'm at. So I'm going to finish these off like I did the other panels, fill the screw holes, get them painted, particularly the inside, get that all painted up. That's what I'm on today. And I want to get these fitted in, glued in place. Then I can get the bottom ones in, then I can start the big panels down the side. So I thought I'd just explain why in this photograph I've filled the camper up with cardboard boxes. Now you can have models and drawings and all sorts of things, but to actually figure out how the layout's going to be inside, I found the best thing to do was to make up some proper size templates that everything is going to fit inside. I've now finished the end panels, a couple of coats of paint on them, that's the inside, so we're ready to assemble it.
These hands of mine have got some stories to tell. Seen parts of heaven and a whole lot of hell. Headed west to stake a claim in the ground. I got as far as Cripple Creek that night. I met a girl with golden hair and green eyes. Fell in love on the outskirts of town. Hung my hat, figured I'd stick around. Hey, the part of me that longs to hold her at night would bury any man that don't treat her right. I'm gonna love and live and kill and fight with my whole heart till death do us part. There was a man who ran that whole damn town. He thought he owned her and that they'd settle down. Took her back with a Colt 44. I loaded up and rode out into the night. Took out his men and by the dawn's early light.
Good morning. As you can see, I've started now on the sides, so it's taking shape. Now what I've had to do with this again is make up a small framework because I'm fitting in some access panels. So I'm going to use these are off boats, and you can fit a lock on these, but these are going in here. There's one going in here. And there's this one going in here. And the idea of this one is to create a pass-through. So we haven't talked much about the layout of the camper, but one of the things that we did want was to make sure that anything big and bulky, certainly things like this, and these are the tracks should we get stuck in mud or sand or anything like that. We didn't want to try to get these inside the camper, so we wanted a pass-through where we got plenty of space, easy access to get big things like that through. We've got this, we've got the outdoor shower, we have the camping chairs, all that sort of thing. So they'll go through there. There'll be a floor that goes right through. The smaller one is for the water heater. The water heater unit will sit somewhere like this. This is, as you can see, it's the Camplux Nano. So obviously this framework isn't very strong, but that's okay because I'm making up some of the sandwich panel, if you like. Again, XPS, the steel, the plywood. I didn't lattice work this too small, so I've just put a complete piece of plywood in there. So these will go in here like so. And I can glue and screw this together. And then here, to give that some strength there, all I've done there is push two pieces of the steel together, fitted in the XPS and the piece of plywood, and that will sit in here like this. That means I can now screw through here, through this, into here, gives me a solid structure there. So this section will just be, again, the normal sandwich panel, my steel construction. Part of the brief on this camper was that we wanted to have as much bed down as possible. We wanted a king size bed, if we could, permanently up. That won't quite work out, but what that's done is created quite a big overhang. The truck can take it, we've only got the cabin and a half truck anyway, but my main concern is this section here, where that's quite vulnerable to some twist. So normally I do over-engineer things anyway. I'm going to over-engineer this definitely, because I don't want a problem there. So I'm going to put a section of plywood in here. This is only 140mm deep. I'll fill that out with some plywood and then insulate and framework back onto the plywood. And then there's another 120mm that goes on top, which is the roof. And of course then the other thing is, when the roof goes up, that puts a lot of pressure down that end because you've got the weight of the roof going up as well. So I'm working on that at the moment. The other side is similar. This is me air conditioning condenser unit. It's easier because it's nice and light because the unit is quite heavy. So this is going in the other side, so I've had to do the other frame slightly different. And how that will work is, this is the vent which is facing the outside, and the door will open, and that means that I'll be able to vent the air conditioning unit. I will have to pin the door back. My concern with this is getting dust and muck and sand and all sorts of stuff in that unit. It isn't really meant to be open to the elements like that. So I'll have a door on the other side, same thing as this, but the other side, that means we can close that off. So I'll crack on, put this together, make my framework up.
Left a blood trail up to his porch. Held my breath and I kicked down the